Welcome to my next project. A beautiful set of oversized nightstands, or gentleman's chests, whatever you'd like to call them. But these lovely nightstands are client owned, so this is a custom project. They have some damage to them. Both of them have water damage on the top, and I've got to get that fixed, and we're going to go full coastal. These clients are moving, and they're moving to the coast, and they're going to decorate their house in a coastal theme. So we get to have some fun turning these into something really cool. These are fantastic pieces. Again, they've been passed down. They survived a whole generation and will survive another because they're so well built. So I've got to dive into this project. First thing, of course, get the hardware off. We're going to reuse this hardware. It is amazing, completely solid, and saving every screw, making sure I keep it there, and getting everything cleaned. And why do I clean? I've got to get everything clean because who knows, years and years of cleaning these and dusting them and waxing them. But I'm numbering these drawers as they come out, and you saw I was writing 1A, and I went into the inside of this and numbered it A, so I know which drawers or which nightstand those drawers came out of. Time to get everything cleaned because that's dust bunny galore. Wow. Most people don't dust behind their drawers, and it's necessary, but I definitely want to give these back to the clients nice and clean. So now we're going with B. This is the B nightstand. Oh, found that little gem. Okay, getting everything all cleaned up, getting the rest of those dust bunnies out and wiped out. These are ready to go. That finish on top is completely failed. It's been wet over the years, I'm sure, from setting, water on this bedside table, and it has just ruined the top. So I'm taking my carbide scraper, and you can see very slowly and carefully, I'm going to start stripping this off of here. This is going to be a process. This is a manufactured finish. It is on there. And although some of it is failing, not all of it is, but I have to strip the entire top or I won't get a nice even surface. If I were to just take off the parts that are damaged and then paint everything, you would see the texture difference from painted to where it was stripped. So I'm going in with 120 grit sandpaper, and I get started with my surf prep, and I'm going nowhere fast. So I switched to the orbital sander and a sanding net. That's an 80 grit. You only use 80 grit when you know what you're dealing with. These are solid wood. And it's still going to be a process of sanding a bit and scraping a bit because you kind of go back and forth, and one takes off a layer and then the other one works better, and then you use that and then the sander works better. So you go back and forth. So now I've got most of it stripped, and I'm just needing to get these edges. I'm very careful with this because you just don't want to gouge anything and ruin that nice line that goes around there. And I'm keeping all of that. Sometimes I refer to it as a crumb catcher, but in this case it's not that big, but it definitely needs to stay there. I wouldn't be able to fill that in. So now I'm using my contour sanding block with that sanding net over the top of it. That's making quick work of just the edges. And now just smoothing everything out again with the surf prep. I don't want to strip the rounded areas because that's a distinct delineation between the two, and I'm trying to just contain it to that one area. Otherwise, I'm going to be stripping the entire thing, which I don't necessarily need to do because the round part of the edge is not damaged. Okay, I was going to start on number 2 and decided to get started on the drawers. These are in great shape, so it's really just scuff sanding. I don't have hardly anything to do with the drawers other than scuff sand them. And then the rest of everything was also in good condition. It was really the tops that just had the majority of the damage. Going in now with my interface pad, and it allows me to get all of these curved areas so I don't have to spend so much time doing more hand sanding. I'm sure to always take these guides and sand them a bit because they can get rough over the years. And now it's time to get everything cleaned up. I go in fully with the leaf blower because my workshop is a mess and I want to get everything cleaned. So I blow it off, and now I'm wiping it off with a damp microfiber towel. Start working on the drawers so I can get those back in. And I'm glad I number them so you know where they go. Here's my temporary pulls. My temporary pulls are adjustable screws. I never use the adjustable screws. I end up throwing them out, so this makes good use of something because I don't like to waste. So get those in there, and it's time to set up my tent. My neighbors are having a yard sale. Look at all the cars. So I'm just going to keep on going. They're going to be able to watch me work out here, and I'm setting up a spray tent. These are large, so I can't use my little Wagner spray tent. I got to go with the full tent here and get these inside. Get them nestled in there so I can work on them both at the same time. Time to get my primer all ready to go. I'm just scooping it into my canister, adding a little water. I have to thin it because you can't spray it as thick as it comes. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my paint set up too. So I have my sprayers ready to go. A little touch-up kit for my clients. Add water to that. And then I also use that swatch. I give that to them as well in case they need to color match. Now I need to keep track of which is which, so I write on it. And here we go with primer. These are oak. They have a lot of heavy grain on them, which I'm not filling because I think it kind of goes along with the whole coastal vibe. And they were already all this way and painted. So sometimes with oak, you know, I would spend a lot of time doing grain filling, but not necessary here. I think the grain just adds to that coastal vibe. It's so cool. But just getting a good layer of primer on there. Primer is so important, and I know we have a lot of really good all-in-one paints, and I use them all the time. I still prime, even when I use a really good high-quality all-in-one paint. And I overlap my layers so I get really good coverage. Time to put the fan up and let these sit for a while. My primer needs to sit so that a couple of hours I can come out here later and sand. And this is why I love a traditional primer even with an all-in-one paint. Because this sanding is so important to a nice smooth finish, and you just can't sand paint the same way you can sand primer. It smooths everything out so well. So I wiped everything off, and now I'm going in with my color. Such a fun color. I'm so excited about this. I just love it. It's not too blue, but it's kind of steel gray. Just a really cool color. And again, this is a good view of seeing how I overlap layers. It looks like I'm just spraying a fine line, but I'm actually overlapping so much, more about 50%, so that's nice and even. Now I do go back in and sand that down. Again, it doesn't work as well as sanding primer, but I still smooth everything out so I have an overall very smooth finish. In between coats, I'm touching up all these edges. This is where the sprayer doesn't get to, but it's keeping the inside of the cabinet nice and clean. The drawers have no overspray on them. So I just touch up these edges, nice clean straight lines. That's all I have to do. Let it dry. After it's dried, come back, close my drawers, and we're on to paint. This is a second coat of paint. And while that second coat is drying, I'm going to go ahead and set up my top coat. So I dumped the paint back in, and I put the top coat right in my canister and tinted my top coat. Now that's ready to go. So these are all dry now. I don't sand this layer because you don't want to scratch it. And I start putting it on there, and I have to hurry and grab a wet rag and wipe it off. What in the world? Look at how blotchy this is. I'm freaking out. What in the heck just happened? So I poured it into another canister, and there is my nice fine mist back. I don't know. I must have had a piece of dried paint or something, but that's what happens. And we just keep on rolling. All right. So a nice layer of top coat, again, sanding. And I'm going to do this sanding, wipe it down, top coat, sand it, wipe it down, top coat. Especially on the tops, I like to do 3 to 5 layers of top coat and really nice overlapped solid layers. When I'm all done, time to clean out my sprayers. Of course, I had all 3 canisters used, one for primer, one for paint, and then the fiasco with the second thing, so I had a third canister. Time to get the hardware back on. This is such cool hardware. We wanted to leave the patina because I think, again, it's coastal, goes with the vibe. Here's a look back at where we started. Now, these were fine in white, but again, there's damage, so they needed to be this. This is what they needed. They needed this color. Don't they look like they should have been this color to start? But this is such a cool vibe. I just love that they chose this color, and this is going to be the perfect addition to a coastal-themed bedroom. So excited for my clients. I hope you just love this makeover as much as I do. Be sure to follow for more.